What startles you guys? I mean, I get startled by all kinds of things, but did you know you can be startled by a fact? Well, I've got a whole list here to prove it. The first fact alone will really surprise you. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 startlingly true random facts. 25. Rattlesnake sperm storage. Rattlesnakes are dangerous, but they're also very clever. I mean, look how they store their sperm. Experts studying the Crotalus adamantius lady snake uncovered a mind-blowing truth. The female of the species does the deed with the male, then keeps his sperm in her reproductive tract. The study, published in 2011, revealed the snake could keep the sperm in check for approximately 5 years before using it for fertilization. 24. Lead versus IQ. Driving makes people smart? It does if you were in the USA and driving a car between the 40s and the 70s. You see, the lead in the gasoline or petrol you were using got into your system when you did stuff like breathe in exhaust fumes. Reports show the astonishing impact this lead had on people's IQ, or intelligence quotient. Each person had over 2 points knocked off their IQ score thanks to lead poisoning. Add that up across the population, and you're looking at over 8 million points. From the 70s onwards, unleaded gas became a thing, meaning cars were still unhealthy, but better for your brain. 23. Jurassic squawk. We've seen a lot of information lately about how dinosaurs were more like birds than reptiles. Birds actually evolved from dinos, and scientists showed how that worked in 2015 when they mixed up a chicken and a velociraptor. The experiment wasn't quite as dramatic as that. However, the science guys from Harvard and Yale managed to grow a chicken embryo with a dinosaur-style snout. They interfered with the creature's protein levels, meaning it grew a dino nose instead of the usual beak. If you find that idea too freaky, just relax. The embryo never hatched. 22. Hawaiian spam. When I say the words Hawaiian spam, you may think of emails from Honolulu. Well, I'm not talking about that. I mean the canned meat product. Hawaiians love spam in a can, consuming huge amounts of the processed pork product. They go through 7 million cans every year, equal to around 6 cans for every person on the island. How did this happen? Well, blame the US Army, who brought over their spam-eating ways during World War II. 21. Kim's Game. Kim's Game sounds like a harmless activity, possibly one for children. But it isn't. You may know it already, just not under that name. You play the game by memorizing stuff that's been put on a tray. You're given a short amount of time to look at the stuff before it's covered up, then it's down to you to remember the items accurately. The name comes from a character in the 1901 book Kim by Rudyard Kipling, who also wrote The Jungle Book. It all sounds pretty harmless so far, so what's the deal with Kim's Game? Well, they use it to help with brain training in sniper school. Yes, they have school for snipers, and an important part of their training involves memory exercises. You can play Kim's Game and not be a sniper, of course, though it still has that deadly association. 20. Dr. Didgeridoo. Music from Australia is used as treatment. Playing a didgeridoo can improve the sleep of someone with sleep apnea. That's where you stop breathing during sleep, either from your airway closing or other factors like muscle control. Blowing into a didgeridoo is a great workout for your airway, and this has led to medical professionals using it to treat patients. It's only part of a treatment program, but it's a lot more fun than the usual prescription. 19. GoDaddy deception. Imagine receiving an email from your boss saying you were getting a bonus for the holidays, only to find out it was a scam. However, the pain doesn't end there. You see, the scam was set up by your boss as part of a cybersecurity test. So you need to click the link to see if you'd fall for the scam or not. This crazy idea came from GoDaddy, and they sent the emails in 2020 when people were struggling due to the COVID-19 pandemic. They weren't actually scamming their employees, but it still felt mean to do it under the circumstances. No $650 bonus? Pfft, no thanks. 18. Congrats from Adolf. What would you do if you got a congratulatory note from Adolf Hitler, the most evil man in history? Well, this is what happened to Pope Pius XI in 1936, 3 years before World War II broke out. The Fuhrer wanted to congratulate Pius on his coronation anniversary. With Nazi ideology rising in Germany and Hitler preparing to try and take over the world, tensions between the Catholic Church and the Nazis increased. However, the debate still goes on today about whether the Church opposed or supported the Nazi war machine. 17. Uncle Walt's Slavery Park. Disney once had plans for a theme park with a historical dimension. Part of this historical dimension concerned slavery, and some of the ideas being suggested caused great offense. These plans were talked about in the early 1990s, and the park would have been called Disney's America. It made sense that they look at the dark side of history through the life of a slave. Unfortunately, their pitch was pretty tone deaf. The exact details aren't known, but the very idea of it caused controversy. It's probably for the best that the project never got off the ground. 16. Runaway Train People Finder. The iconic 90s track Runaway Train by Soul Asylum was about depression and the impact feeling low can have on someone. The video also proved to be highly influential in a whole different way. It featured real images of missing children, which didn't have much to do with the content of the song, but felt like the right creative decision for the band. In an incredible development, this led to some of them actually being found, and it was all thanks to a simple music video. 15. American Samoa status. Do you think American Samoa is part of the United States? Well, it is, and it isn't. While it looks like a state, it is in fact a territory. Specifically, it's an unincorporated territory. This means that American Samoa falls under U.S. sovereignty or total authority, but you can't be a citizen if you live there. Instead, you are classified as a U.S. national, so you're part of the United States without having all the legal rights. That makes you unable to do stuff like vote, even though you're living and working under many federal laws. 14. The Ignored War. Who fought the Allies during World War II? Well, there were the Germans, the Italians, the Japanese, and Thai people? I mean, I don't remember seeing that in the history books. The truth is, Thailand wanted to declare war on the US and the UK. Or rather, they were told to do it by Japan, who were their military allies. Unfortunately for them, their ambassador in the US, Senai Pramoj, didn't agree with the idea. Thailand relied on him to pass on the message, and he wouldn't do that. Pesky diplomats. Pramoj went on to become Prime Minister of Thailand in 1945 after the war was over, having already served his country in this unexpected way. 13. Crimean facial hair connection. There's a weird connection between the Crimean War of the 1850s and face fungus. And by face fungus, I of course mean sideburns and beards. Hey, you saw a lot of those in places like Victorian England, but where did the idea originally come from? Well, the Crimean War. The facial hair kept British troops warm while they fought over there, and they decided to keep the tough soldier look when they came home from the frozen battlefields of Eastern Europe. 12. Super salty spoon. Does your meal need salt? You may not need to add any thanks to a 2024 invention from the Kirin company called the electric salt spoon. It's designed to gently electrify your tongue and help it to taste salty flavors a whole lot better. Yeah, you heard me correctly. This thing basically gives you a very small shock in your mouth. This sounds a little strange, and I'm not sure if an electrical current in your digestive system is a good mix. However, it's gotta be good for your salt intake in the long term. 11. The Middle Ages and HIV. The Black Death, also known as bubonic plague, devastated the world during the Middle Ages. That said, is it possible the Black Death had an upside? Scientists today say the plague's legacy has affected how people respond to HIV. We didn't become aware of HIV and AIDS until the 80s, yet hundreds of years earlier, our bodies were fighting off the Black Death and possibly strengthening our white blood cells. Because HIV attacks what are called CCR5 receptors on these cells, some people are able to resist it through mutation in their cell receptors. This mutation, dubbed CCR5 Delta 32, is believed to have developed through exposure to major outbreaks. Experts found the mutation in 10% of Europeans. You can also have 2 mutations, which reportedly doubles the HIV resistance overall. 10. Microparticle. Doctors are starting to think small when it comes to getting oxygen into the blood. Tiny microparticles that hold oxygen inside a dissolving shell can be injected straight into a patient who's having trouble breathing. This microparticle was first reported on in 2012, and what's especially amazing about it is your lungs don't need to be working for the oxygen to revive you. That's good news for your brain and heart, which, need oxygen to keep from failing in the event of a critical incident. 9. Jackpot. Slot machines may be old school, but they still bring in serious dollars for the US economy. These machines are here to stay, with tens of billions generated in revenue every year. They're a go-to destination for anyone visiting a casino and wanting to grab some cash fast. Things get really surprising when you compare them to other forms of entertainment. The humble slot machine beats theme parks, movies, and even baseball with their vast revenue streams. 8. Poo-phoria. Ever wondered why using the toilet can be so relaxing? You could be experiencing something called Poo-phoria. Yes, scientists have come up with a name for that pleasant feeling you sometimes get when you defecate. How does it work? Well, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but let's just say when you make a deposit, the stretching sensation down below is felt in your vagus nerve. This is an essential part of your nervous system, responsible for things like your heart rate. Amazingly, going potty can trigger the nerve, reduce your heart rate, and make you feel super relaxed. 7. Siphonophore. It looks like a jellyfish, but appearances can be deceiving. This is the Portuguese man-o'-war, which was first seen by humans in the mid-18th century. It has a pneumatophore, or inflated bladder, that acts like a flotation device. The man-o'-war also has some seriously long tentacles that pack a punch. These things can grow up to 100 feet long. So, if it isn't a jellyfish, what is it? The creature is known as a colonial siphonophore, and a siphonophore is a transparent organism much like a jellyfish. The word colonial here is the important detail. This isn't an animal, but a colony of animals. The bladder, the tentacles, and everything else are all separate life forms called zooids that work together as a whole. So a more accurate description for the man-o'-war would be creatures, not creature. 6. Chicken twist. I've heard of outsourcing, but this next story is ridiculous. A customer at a California restaurant called Sweet Dixie Chicken realized he was getting too sweet of a deal in 2017. How so? Well, the restaurant's owners were serving Popeye's chicken and passing it off as their own, while ramping up the price. Now, I should mention the Sweet Dixie Chicken people were open about the deal when they were asked, so it's debatable whether they were up to no good. Plus, Popeye's Chicken seemed happy enough with the story and went on to partner with Sweet Dixie for a marketing stunt. Cluck around and find out, you could say. 5. Underwater blood fact. The deeper underwater you go, the more your blood turns green. Crazy as it sounds, your blood goes from red to green just like a traffic light. Why does this happen? It's all because of how light works in water. At a distance of approximately 15 feet, the red light wavelength starts to be absorbed by the water around you. Put simply, the water molecules interfere with the colors and filter out the red. By the time you reach a depth of around 30 feet, you are seeing red as green, though it's still a red liquid. Something to think about the next time you're watching a Jaws movie. 4. Banner blindness. The online world is full of ads trying to grab our attention so we can buy various products and services. This tactic is highly effective, but you may be surprised to hear there are flaws in the system. Namely, when we see ads online, we automatically ignore them. This is a natural reaction called banner blindness, which was first described in the late 90s. Advertising still works, of course. However, I'm sure marketing people would get rid of banner blindness if they could. 3. Club 300. Not all exclusive clubs are worth joining. Take Club 300, for example, which has a long tradition of exposure to sub-zero temperatures. To join the club, you first need to be working at the South Pole. Then, you have to go into the sauna, followed by a walk outside in the snow. You'll be wanting to put your boots on for that, and in some cases, that's all you'll be putting on. By doing this brave/foolhardy activity, you'll be shifting your body temperature downwards by an astonishing 300 degrees, which is where the club gets its name. You'll be part of an exclusive club, but you may not have any fingers left. 2. Pyramid sounds. The people of ancient Maya lived from approximately 2000 BCE to 1600 CE. They were a clever group, especially the architects. One of their incredible structures can be enjoyed today with both your eyes and ears. What do I mean? Well, I'm talking about the El Castillo Pyramid, located in Chichen Itza in the Yucatan Peninsula of East Mexico. Experts believe this pyramid was built to reflect sound and look impressive against the skyline. When you clap your hands, the structure reflects the sound back at you, and you hear the noise of a quetzal bird. Because this bird was sacred to the Mayans, it would be surprising if the chirping was a totally random thing.
1, 2, and 3. Great.
It's thought the pyramid was designed specifically to sound like that. 1. Sailor's handshake. Can you tell if someone has a disease just by shaking their hand? The old tradition of the sailor's handshake is said to do just that. If you shake hands with a potential partner and you feel stuff like lesions on their skin, it is a big red flag for syphilis. Plus, this is no ordinary handshake I'm talking about here because you actually hold on to the forearm instead of the hand. Doing so helps you identify any swelling in the elbows, which is another warning sign. The sailor's handshake is also used as an actual handshake. In fact, that's the main purpose of it. So if someone starts feeling your elbows, don't be too alarmed. That list was full of shocking surprises, so I'm going to give you some time to de-startle yourself. If you want to know more, then how about this question that flips things around? Which of these startling facts is incorrect? A. Your nails keep growing after you die. B. Over 50% of pilots have admitted to falling asleep on the job. C. You can grow a tree inside a human lung. Or D. Music affects the flavor of cheese. Let me know your answers in the comments below. Now we have a lot more super startling facts ready to go right here in our video of facts that'll make you go, huh? These ones are pretty unusual, so you'll want to check them out. And as always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell, social medias, mine and the channels, and I'll see you next time for another awesome list. Bye guys.